The delinquent teen got dragged into a drunken uncle's arms and thoroughly worked over. Feeling offended, he tried to push the man away, but somehow that uncle had ridiculous drunk strength and shoved him straight through his own front door. What happened after that? The reviewer said it was too explicit, so let's skip that part. The next day, the delinquent sat on the subway with a dark expression all the way to school. Last night, only the uncle got to enjoy anything. When it was finally supposed to be his turn, the uncle had fallen asleep. Who would touch a man dead asleep like that? But the worst part was, the uncle's body and face were exactly his type. He was already frustrated from being hunted by the organization. Now he had to suffer a humiliating night too. The delinquent's public identity was that of a high school student. His real identity, however, was a recently retired professional assassin with 10 years of experience. His irritated gaze swept across the subway crowd. Unexpectedly, he saw that uncle again. And the man was being harassed by a subway pervert. But the uncle showed no reaction at all. Even when he noticed the teen, his expression didn't change. Zhejiang didn't understand the man's behavior. Why wasn't he fighting back? If he looked over for help, why was his gaze so calm? None of it matched how a normal person should react. Zhejiang began to wonder if the uncle was someone sent by the organization to approach him. So when they got off the subway, he followed him all the way, wanting to see how long the man planned to keep up the act. But when he reached the office building, his high schooler identity got him shoved out by two security guards. The once top-tier assassin froze outside the door. When had he ever suffered this level of humiliation? To keep from blowing his cover, Zhejiang stormed off into a nearby milk tea shop to wait for the uncle to get off work. But instead, someone from the organization found him first. 1 hour earlier, the uncle, Fang Kun, had woken up in the delinquent's bed. He quickly dressed and snuck out, panicked that he'd drunk so much the night before. Since his backside didn't feel any pain, he assumed he had been the one on top. That kid? He remembered the boy lived one floor below him, a high schooler. He froze mid-step. Had he committed a crime? And the kid looked like a delinquent, a dangerous creature he absolutely shouldn't provoke. Fang Kun spent the entire work meeting panicking. As expected, his boss kept him behind afterward. Nervous, he sat down. His boss placed his glasses, left behind last night, on the table. When Fang Kun reached out to take them, the boss leaned in personally to put them on him, then patted his shoulder and warned, "Don't let me catch you spacing out in meetings again." Fang Kun pushed up his glasses, cheeks burning red. The lonely uncle played with his toy every night, and every expression of pleasure he made was being monitored and watched by the retired assassin living beneath him. Dao He saw everything. That night, Fang Kun walked home from work. His current job was writing romance plotlines for school bully characters. He couldn't help wondering if delinquents were lovable. Speaking of delinquents, the image of the kid downstairs appeared in his mind. He shook his head violently, wiping the scene away. Ever since that night, they hadn't run into each other in the stairwell. Since the kid never came looking for him, Fang Kun assumed nothing happened between them. Besides, the boy probably didn't even like men. Half an hour later, he got home and lay on his bed, taking out his little toy to relax. All of this was clearly heard and seen by Zhejiang downstairs. Zhejiang ripped off his headphones, face flushed red, admiring how disciplined the uncle's daily routine was. Every night, he played by himself without fail. Influenced by the uncle, he even dreamed that night of the two of them playing together. The next morning, he woke up with a certain reaction. He began doubting himself. Maybe he wasn't really an assassin pretending to be a student. Maybe he was just a high schooler imagining himself as a killer. I mean, what 25-year-old wakes up like this from a dream? Later at the milk tea shop, Zhejiang met up with Li Si, his best friend from the organization. Li Si had arranged his fake identity as a student. But an assassin couldn't just retire freely. Now other killers had been sent after him, meaning his cover was compromised. Li Si hadn't managed to get him a new identity yet. Before leaving, he told Zhejiang, "If you meet someone too difficult to handle, call me." Zhejiang refused. He didn't want to rely on anyone. He focused instead on investigating the mysterious uncle. The man didn't seem like someone the organization sent. More likely, Li Si had planted him to keep watch. But after several days of tailing and digging, Zhejung was stunned to discover the uncle had absolutely nothing to do with the organization or Li Si. He was simply a low social interaction office worker. Law-abiding, predictable, paid taxes on time. If he had an abnormal trait, it was that he was a total closeted pervert. Still, since he'd already done the work, he wouldn't waste it. Zhejung decided to take the uncle's identity to escape the organization, which meant the uncle had to die. Normally, the first step to replacing someone was getting close to them, becoming friends. But this time, he wanted to go even further. So a few nights later, he slipped into the uncle's room, placed a hand on the sleeping man's neck, and prepared to act. A retired assassin acted cute and pitiful just to get a meal from the uncle. But the uncle found him disgusting and told him to stop acting spoiled. The next day, Fang Kun sat on the subway, exhausted. He assumed he was tired from overindulging himself the night before. He resolved not to reward himself that night. At the next stop, a large crowd boarded, and, as usual, he was harassed again. Zhejung, who had followed him onto the train, grabbed the pervert's hand. "Uncle, let's go to the police." Fang Kun tried to refuse, but Zhejung's forceful attitude left him no choice. By the time they left the station, it was past 9. Zhejung expected the uncle to thank him, but at a fork in the road, the uncle simply waved and walked away. Confused, he grabbed him. "Uncle, aren't you going to thank me? I stopped a pervert for you. I get it. You're embarrassed a man harassed you, but I couldn't just watch it happen. And last time, when you were drunk, did you forget everything?" Fang Kun froze. "Ah, so this is what he wants to talk about." He asked for Zhejung's number. "When I'm free, I'll treat you to a meal." Zhejung quickly entered his number and returned the phone, reminding him not to ignore him. But the uncle did ignore him. Zhejung sent 3 messages and got no reply. Fang Kun wasn't doing it on purpose. He was busy eating the snacks his boss gave him. After serving his superior, he was scolded again for being late that morning and for writing an awful romantic subplot about a school bully. When he finally left the office, he collapsed at his desk trying to rewrite the storyline. He didn't get home until midnight. There, waiting at his door, stood Zhejung, looking very unwell. Fang Kun apologized. "Classmate, I didn't ignore you on purpose." Seeing the boy stride into his home and raise a hand, he thought he was about to get punched. But the next second, Zhejung clutched his stomach, fell to one knee and groaned, "I'm starving to death. What kind of job makes you work past midnight?" Seeing him nearly faint from low blood sugar, Fang Kun sighed. "I'll treat you to pizza, or whatever you want. I want your cooking." Worried the uncle might refuse, Zhejung deliberately put on a pitiful puppy dog expression. Fang Kun stared for a few seconds, then walked to the door. Zhejung brightened. So the uncle was weak to cute things, but the next sentence shattered him. "I'll cook, but can you stop acting spoiled? It's disgusting." The delinquent imagined sharing a single noodle with the uncle, so their faces would naturally move closer and touch. But reality was, the uncle told him to eat alone. While Fang Kun cooked instant noodles with a fried egg, Zhejung pretended to look around the house. In truth, he already knew every inch of it. The yellow bunny on the shelf contained his hidden camera, which the uncle had never discovered. He noticed the black box on the bedside table. Inside were items covered in mosaics. He quickly shut it. Their relationship wasn't at the stage to discuss those things. Fang Kun placed the noodles on the table. "Come eat." Though it was just instant noodles, Zhejung was thrilled. He invited Fang Kun to eat with him, imagining the noodle-sharing kiss again, but the uncle said he had already eaten. "So eat by yourself." Disappointed, Zhejung muttered, "Fine." But to his surprise, the noodles were incredible. He devoured them with shining eyes. Fang Kun prayed silently. "I gave him my last egg and packet of noodles. Please finish and go home. I can't afford to host this disaster of a boy." While the boy was eating, Fang Kun glanced at him. "He's built well. And is his hair bleached? Does his school not care?" Just then, Zhejiang looked up. Uncle, if you stare at me like that, I'll get shy. Fang Kun flushed and awkwardly explained he only wanted to tell him his band-aid was about to fall into his bowl. Zhejiang tore the band-aid off, revealing an old scar. My teacher keeps making me cover it. Says I look too fierce, but I don't fight much. People just pick fights with me. Fang Kun thought, who asked? So you've been fighting since childhood. Is that something to brag about? When the boy finished eating, Fang Kun immediately stood up to take his bowl. You're done. Go home. I need to rest. I have work tomorrow. But Zhejiang didn't move. Uncle, your noodles are so good. I want them again next time. Can I come again? Fang Kun froze. So that's his goal. You're deliberately getting close to me. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Why? Don't tell me I slept with you while drunk, and because you're inexperienced, you developed feelings for your older neighbor? Both men froze. Fang Kun was horrified at his own nonsense. They didn't even know if anything happened. And the boy never said he liked him. He was stupid and narcissistic. Zhejiang froze because he was impressed. The uncle invented a full, self-consistent explanation, truly worthy of a game planner. Before Fang Kun could apologize, Zhejiang spoke first. Uncle, I do like you. We didn't sleep together that night, but you kissed me several times. Blushing, he grabbed Fang Kun's hand. Gege, will you date me?